What's up, everybody? This is Cole Boling with the Boling Group at Keller Williams Realty, One Legacy Partners here in Topeka, and you are listening to Topeka Business Uncensored. Here we go. Hey, everybody, it's Cole Boling with Topeka Business Uncensored. I am the CEO and co-owner of the Boling Group Real Estate team here in Topeka, Northeast Kansas area. Today, I have one of my friends from a long time ago on the show. I'm really excited. I've been wanting to get her on for a while, and it just happened to work out that we were able to connect today. My friend Heather. Heather is here today. She is the owner of Safely Sunning. I'm not even going to get into exactly what she does because I want her to explain it. And yet, let me say this. This is one badass business owner. She is taking a social media approach to her business. She is a risk taker. She is vocal and not in a bad way. I mean, if you know when you talk with her or see her stuff, what she's about, who she is, and she is just one awesome human being that I love following, I love talking with, and I love seeing everything that she's doing. So welcome, Heather. Thank you for being on my show today.
Thanks. That was quite the introduction. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Tell everybody about your business. I know you've got Safely Sunning. You've got this other line that's a gunslinger, spray tan gunslinger. What the heck are you doing?
So I have a couple different irons in the fire right now. So Safely Sunning is a professional airbrush tanning business. We have a brick and mortar. We're located on the 300 block of Kansas Avenue in downtown Topeka, Kansas. And so we do in studio. Yep, it's right across the street from the police department.
Perfect. Okay.
Yep. And so we have people in our studio, and we're doing custom airbrush stands, and yeah, we just do the dang thing. I have a couple of employees, and we stay very, very, very busy.
I mean, I can hear the passion. Gunslinger. Yeah. Your passion is real. Like, it's there.
You should come in. I'll give you a spray tan.
Oh shit, my white ass. I got the farmer's tan going on though. I don't know if you can see it, but I've got a great farmer's tan this year. But you know, so the Gunslinger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so spray tan Gunslinger is kind of a spinoff of Safely Sunning, and so one of my friends a really long time ago, probably like, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago, said something about, wow, you're just slinging those spray tans. You're like the spray tan gunslinger. And I'm like, that stuck. Okay, cool. So I just used that hashtag for a lot of years. Underneath my post about like spray tanning people, I would use the hashtag spray tan gunslinger. And then I got to thinking, like, I should really do something with this. I can't just waste it on a hashtag, because like hashtags to me are like whatever.
Yeah.
So I started a business called Spray Tan Gunslinger, and it's our retail line. It's our online e-commerce retail business. So there's tanning mousse, mitts of all kinds, tan extender, tanning water, body wash, all that stuff.
Okay.
It's on our website. So most of those things can go in tandem with our studio spray tans, and then some of them can be standalone. All of them work really well with our at-home self-tanning mousse too. Mm-hmm. So that has been really, really important for our business, just the tanning mousse. I started doing the tanning mousse. I started pushing it quite a bit when COVID hit and we couldn't have people into our studio. Okay. And so I was making these posts because I had when COVID hit, it was like 2 weeks until our busy season. So I had all this stuff like sitting on the shelves, like collecting dust. I was not making any money, and I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with all this retail? So I packaged it up and I called them quarantine kits. And
Okay.
so I would post it on my personal social media. And I had like 3 or 4 different tiers. Like the top tier was like one of everything I had on my shelf. And then the bottom tier was just the mousse and the mitt. And then the couple in between was like maybe a lotion or maybe a Tannixin or maybe a whatever body wash.
Okay.
And it started out being like, I gotta liquidate this shit. I gotta make some money. And then I sold out, and I'm not even joking. I sold out in like 7 minutes the first go around. And so I collected all the money, I placed another order, and I started just like having this stuff sent to my house and packaging it all up. And I was delivering it to these people's homes. And so I was burning up thank God gas wasn't $5 a gallon back then.
Right.
But yeah, so that's how Spray Tan Gunslinger was born. And now we
Okay.
ship all over the country, and it's become like a whole thing all by itself.
Awesome. Awesome. And my question, you brought up COVID. Would you say that that's one of the main ways you survived COVID, not being able to have people in your studio? Or was there other things that helped you survive COVID?
I mean, I was doing some haircuts in my garage. Not gonna
Sure.
lie, like from
It
time to
wasn't
time.
Did Nancy
And it was
Pelosi
a
come over?
whole. What'd you say?
Did Nancy Pelosi come over? Because I couldn't help it. Sorry. Sorry.
Definitely not to my house. Definitely not. She would not be welcome in my home.
Okay. All right.
However, yeah. So I had a couple haircuts here and there that amounted to nothing, but the rest of it was strictly like rolling around town and delivering all these quarantine kits. And I was delivering to Topeka, Holton, and Lawrence, and then I was shipping everywhere else.
Are you finding that you're out of COVID, or are you still having effects from it, you feel, like in your business?
No, I feel like we're not really having any more effects because of COVID. If anything, I feel like both businesses are doing well because we're not in COVID. There's a lot of people who didn't know that I had a retail line before COVID, and I kind of threw it in everybody's face just because I needed to survive. So I was like putting myself out there even more so and saying like, this is the new product that I have. This is why you need it. This is why it works. I promise you, if you love to come get spray tans at Safely Sunning, buy this product, because it is like 10 out of 10. You just have to do it yourself.
Okay.
The product itself is great. And I still stand behind that. So that's why both of the businesses are going well.
So let's talk about struggling. Let's talk about being a business owner. What would you say has been take COVID off the table? Like, we all know that just sucked for everybody. However, being a business owner, getting started, what's something that you've found was a struggle that maybe you didn't expect? Anything come to mind?
Okay, so yeah, so I went to cosmetology school right out of high school. I didn't go to college. I didn't do business school. I didn't do any of that.
Sure.
Nobody fucking tells you anything. Like you have to ask the right questions to the right people. There's no like crash course that you can take that I know of. Like you have to trip and fall all the time. Hopefully you don't skin up your face too bad, because you got to get up and keep going. So like all the stuff in business, like the sales tax and like how to properly like zone everything and like just how to run a business, like no one tells you how to do that. So do I have like all this passion in the world? Yes. Did I crash and burn and fall on my face several times regarding strictly business? Yes, even more so. So, I mean, I feel like that has been a major learning curve for me. And I'm still learning things all the time about how to properly do this or how to write off that or whatever. Like, you have to kind of be on top of things a whole lot more than like what I'm typically used to, because I have ADHD really bad, and that is doing me no favors.
Sure. I mean, it does a little bit. I mean, it keeps you it keeps you out there. A lot of people with ADHD are really good at bringing in a lot of stuff all the time, that when something is failing, there is another door, right? I have ADHD as well.
Right.
I actually am a clinically, like I take medication for it because I am so scattered all the time.
Yeah.
And mental health is real. And I'm actually wanting to do a whole segment on mental health, because business owners and mental health is like, people don't understand. If you don't, because I don't know what the percentage is, but let's say 95% of all people usually work for someone else. And when you have those kind of numbers,
Yeah.
those people don't understand. They may get a little bit of it, but they don't understand what it's really like to wake up every day and know you have to make money to survive. I can't go to work. Like, there's days where you go to work, or there's days where I go to work, where we may not have a client show up. We're here working, and we don't get paid. And yet that is
Right.
a real thing. And especially when you have ADHD, because I heard this saying, I've heard it multiple ways, multiple times, and it says, I would have been a lucky man if I only learned one thing, and I learned that one thing really well. And I'm also a lucky man because I know so much. And I think about that often, because sometimes knowing so much is actually a bad thing, because it gives you so
Yeah.
many ideas. It's like, oh, let's try that. Oh, let's start a clothing line. Oh, wait, I could start a marketing company. Oh, wait, I could do tanning, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
real. That's entrepreneur at a high level.
Yeah.
Yet what, for you though, when you look at all these things, when they have been a negative, they also become a positive, right? So looking at the
Yep.
struggle of learning how to run a business, doing taxes, doing, all the back ends, the LLCs and the S corps and the CPA stuff and all that, what would you say
Yeah.
now to somebody looking to start a business, that you can actually tell somebody that nobody told you? What would be a piece of advice you would give?
Hire an accountant like right away.
Great.
Like don't try to be the hero and try to do it yourself because you want to save however much money, because that part doesn't matter. You have to have your ducks in a row, and you have to trust the professionals. And um doing things like we were talking about, doing things and grinding it out. um you can do it all by yourself. You really can,
Hmm.
but you're going to get burned out and you're going to lose relationships, and you're just going to it's going to become really unfun really fast. So hiring the right people for the right like tasks that
Hmm.
you need to accomplish, like do that even if it doesn't like make sense in your brain. Like just trust me.
Yeah, so I actually did a little video yesterday about experience versus research. And I do really feel like a lot of us entrepreneurs are really good at researching. We're really good at looking up stuff. And yet without the experience, we stumble so much more. And even with experience, we stumble. But I got into this, like, a little bit of a debate with this 22-year-old, and they're like, why does my age matter against you, who's been in your business for a very long time? And I said, it's not that you're not capable of doing the same things that I'm capable of doing. We're all capable. The difference is, when it comes down to doing something that requires experience versus research, there's nothing that trumps experience. There's nothing that trumps going through and actually doing this. So if somebody was to show up today to start a spray tan company compared to you, like, there's just no way that they could have researched it enough on Google to actually compete at a level that your business competes at, and your business produces at. And that's one of the things that I love about your business. Even though I'm not a client of yours, I mean, I may not even be the right demographic. Maybe I am. The idea though is that if I was to look at a business that's just starting compared to yours, you have the experience. I know that if I go to you, I'm getting the knowledge, I'm getting the information that I need without having to research it. Same thing with CPA, right? Same thing with what you are saying. And I love it. I love the fact that you are putting it out there, that you can do it. We can all do it. We can all figure out how to create an LC and all that. But you're going to spend more money than you think you are. You're not saving
Oh
anything
yeah. Yeah, you're
typically.
going to be hemorrhaging money. And
Good
all
word.
you're provided are Band-Aids, and you're like, a Band-Aid is not going to stop the bleeding here. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, everybody's capable. It's just, like you said, the experience for sure. Also, can we rabbit trail for one moment because
Yeah.
ADHD?
Hmm.
The younger person that you spoke with yesterday, I feel like younger people don't realize that like they're growing up in a different time than we did. And so like the expectations are lower, and they also have like it I shouldn't say this as a blanket statement, but it's going to sound like it. Like a lot of people don't want to work as hard. They don't want to go out of their way. They think that they can do everything from the computer and not leave the house, not leave the office, not,
Sure.
and get those experience moments where you can be a more well-rounded individual that is really hardworking, that is very knowledgeable, that knows how to hold a conversation with another human being,
Hmm.
face to face. And so there are strengths that our age bracket holds that I feel like isn't necessarily trickling down to every single person that's 22 now and
Sure.
younger. I
Sure.
have 4 kids, and I'm like, oh my God.
And that it really is a big thing. I mean, we're watching these kids just give up so quickly and not give themselves the opportunity to create the experience, to create the ability to, walk through something that takes more than a month or more than 6 months or 5 years. I mean, they're wanting to jump around, and they're wanting to, like, we say ADHD on a different way than they say it. They say it like, we don't have ADHD. We're just looking for the next. We just move quicker. We're willing to not wait. There's no. The word I'm looking for is patience. Patience. That's the word I'm looking for. The generation now, and my kids included, like, they don't understand what patience is and how
At
to
all.
wait for something to come. They just go to the next thing. Now, is that all bad?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer for that yet. And it may take 10 more years for anybody to have an answer for that. It's kind of like, is social media bad? Is I was listening to a podcast the other day with Ed Milet, and he was interviewing the guy that does all the memes. Oh my gosh. I can't remember his name at this point, but he was talking about, he always gets this question about, is the internet a bad thing for us? Should Facebook have never been created? And he goes, I think it's going to take 30 years to know that answer. And I thought about that, and I'm like, that's probably true, because is it bad? Well, right
Right.
now, everybody's trying to regulate it. Necessarily, we don't know if that's bad yet or not, right? But you and I talked about something before we got started on the call, and we talked about, I want to segue this into choices and the choices that we make. Like, you have a choice in this world to do what you're doing. I have a choice to do what I'm doing. Talk to me a little bit about you and your upbringing and making choices, and what you've
Yeah.
learned in your past and where you're at.
Yeah. So when I was a teenager, my dad was dating this gal for a really long time, ended up marrying her. She's wonderful. But when I was a teenager, I was like, oh man, like, I want that stuff. It must be nice. I wish I could have this. I wish I could go here on vacation, eat at this nice restaurant, like whatever. Um, and my stepmom was like, well, first of all, you're too young. You haven't put in your years of accumulation and whatever. But we all make our own choices. Like, in this particular example, my stepmom decided a long time before I met her that she was going to be a pharmacist, and she was going to, she was really good at math and science, and that's what she decided she was going to do, and provide for her family, and that's what she wanted to do, and we all have our own choice. So, if I want to work at the local fast food chain for the rest of my life, I'm going to be capped at this much money, and that's going to be my choice. And everything in between, I could be cutting hair at a barbershop for $7 a head and make no money. Or I can choose to, you know, be a business owner a couple times over and have employees and, you know, be able to, I say this, be able to make my own schedule, but I'm working more than I'm not, right?
Such a
But
fallacy.
I have the freedom to be like, okay, so my kid has this, or, you know, I am so done right now. I need a mental break. In 3 weeks, I'm going to block off 1 or 2 days in a row,
Mhm.
because with the way that my schedule works, I can't just take off like tomorrow. In a couple weeks, I can take that off, and between now and then, I have something to look forward to that's going to hold me over, right? So
Mhm.
we all have our own choices to you know, succeed, fail, ascend, evaporate. Like we all make our own choices, and some are better than others, and
So
it's definitely a
why do you
learning
think you
situation.
why do you really believe you chose to be an entrepreneur instead of working in a cubicle?
Honestly, I felt like I had I became unemployable. That's the God's honest truth. And the reason I say that is because I um, have ideas, and if my ideas aren't if I have the guts enough to even bring my ideas to the table for my employer, a lot of times they don't take them because, like, I'm the new kid on the block, right? Like, they've already
Mhm.
done the things and they know what works and what doesn't, and I don't. So, you know, if I had the guts to bring it to the table, it was never accepted. So, like, I just didn't fit in well with like an office mentality. I my body needs to be active. I don't want to sit in a cube. I like staring at a computer for more than a couple of hours on things that aren't my project. Sort of makes me want to scrape my eyeballs out. And so I just like it never felt like a good fit to me, which is why I started, you know, working in a salon cutting hair. And then I got to a point where I was like, I truly love my clients, but I cannot, in my brains, I cannot create conversation for like 2 hours with the same person. So then I was like,
Yep.
okay, well, like I just couldn't do it. Um,
Mhm.
so long story short, as it's going now, I see different people every 30 minutes. I love them. I can strike up good conversation. I can get I can get all teared up. I can make people cry in
Sure.
a good way in 30 minutes, and we can have like a great connection. And if they decide they're going to come back, which most of them do, you know, then you can build a relationship, and you know, you can get beyond that like topical bullshit and get to like
Yeah.
the real meat and potatoes of it. And it doesn't take that long. If you're genuine about it, it doesn't take a very long time to create good relationships.
I went through the same thing. I know exactly what you're talking about. I always joked this is why I was really bad at relationships for a very long time before I met my wife, is because at a certain point I was just like, oh my God, I still have to keep making this happen or make this work, right? And I was
Yeah.
never great at the whole a month at a time. And it's funny, that's probably why real estate is good for me, because once somebody has a transaction, and I'm way different now. Now I love my relationships, but I'm pickier about my relationships. And I think that that's a big thing from when I was younger, starting in this business to where I am now, is I'm a lot more picky about who I spend time with, who I'm having conversations with, how much time I'm investing with them. Because I've had people look at houses for a year and I'm like, well, that's not that I don't love my clients and I love helping people, but a year, it's like, um, we got to get going, right? You buy a house, we get through the
Yeah.
process, you're done in a month. That's about the time frame that a lot of people have relationships, and they do fizzle and they do go away and all that. But I'm with you, like, and it is a little bit to do with the ADHD too. Like it's exciting for a little bit. And it's like, okay, now what are we doing? Now what are we doing? And I couldn't imagine. I mean, I've watched these hairstylists do this for years and they know all this stuff. And I have a lot of clients that are hairstylists, and I'm just like, how do you do it? And they're just like, just get used to it after a while. And it does make you wonder. It's kind of like there's a lot of people that I hope listen to this and who are working in a cubicle, who have desires and who have dreams of being an entrepreneur. Like, you're just gonna have to go for it. I mean, like you,
Yeah.
like most of those people are miserable. I mean, I had a conversation last night with somebody,
Oh,
miserable.
yeah.
They're like, oh, I get 2 weeks of vacation a year. I get 4 weeks. I'm like, I'm sorry. Right now, if somebody told me I couldn't go do something, I'm going to do it. That's probably why you and I get along very well.
Right. I don't like to be told what to do and what not to do. So
Mhm.
I like to kind of be the boss, but I am held accountable by clients showing up. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
even my clients are kind of my boss, right? So like I got to show up for that, and I got to be held accountable by my accountant and my employees and all that stuff. And I take that to heart, but I don't have like obviously an immediate boss
Sure.
that I have to check in with every single day. That it just makes me like cringe even thinking about it.
But you could say no to somebody if they said, "Hey, I want you to do a tan at 4:30 today." You could say no.
Yeah, I could.
That's the difference. The
Yeah.
the beauty of entrepreneurship is your ability to really say no. And I'm not talking about the
Yeah,
next level
but
where,
it took
hey,
me
we
a
have to
really long
pay
time to get
bills.
there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and we may not always be there. We may never actually get all the way there because we still have to pay bills. We're not. Very few people are born with $1 million in their bank account, right? Or the
Sure.
ability to just go lay on the beach forever. I mean, I always laugh. I'm like, I'm doing all of these things that I do so that I can say no and be at the lake or be at the beach or like, and I've done a lot of that. And the reality of it is,
Mhm.
it all comes back to being told what I can and can't do. And that's why entrepreneurship is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I love what you do. I love that I really, it's kind of funny from a man, from an outside point of view, from just watching a lot of stuff you're doing on social media. I love what you're doing. And I step back so many times and I say, "God, she's just getting started." And I know that you
Yeah.
feel like you've been doing this for a long time, but do you ever just feel like you're like, I'm just getting started?
All the time. Yeah. Yeah. I've got my wheels turning at all hours of the day and night, all every single day, on what I can do next, what I can, and I'm not saying like ditch this whole spray tan thing. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just
Sure.
saying, what can I build on? And I have all kinds of irons in the fire. And the older I get and the more relationships I make and the more I put myself out there and the more like true networking relationships I have, those people can kind of, people kind of come in and out of your life, but those people that are in your life, they can kind of influence the things, that you do and the decisions that you make, because a lot of my friends are also small business owners, right? So,
Mhm.
you can spitball things for a couple hours and then all of a sudden you have, your next $1 million idea.
So you just kind of gave me I kind of got an epiphany of what's going on. Like when we're entrepreneurs, we're in the business. We're the ones that are doing the business. But
Yeah.
there's a transition point from entrepreneurship to business owner. And I think that may be what I'm seeing in you and from afar is you're an entrepreneur. You're still kind of in your entrepreneur stage where you're in the business. You're doing the tans, you're doing the development, you're doing these things, and I think the next phase is your ability to hire, your ability to oversee. I call it working on the business instead of working in the business. And
Right.
and then
That's absolutely right.
you do it. Do you feel like that's where you're kind of at right now? Where you're at that, like you still have to do it because you're not quite to that next phase yet, but do you feel like you're at the stage where the next phase is hiring and overseeing and
Yeah.
developing?
So like I'm right on the cusp of that. And I do have two employees, and I love them dearly. And I love them so much that I want them to take on more of a role. And I want to be able to hire other people to also take on more of a role so that I can, for my own sanity, not because I don't love it, because I do. I'm obsessed with spray tanning, probably more than I even should be. Um, that's not an unhealthy thing, I guess, but I do
No.
want to kind of step away. I do need a little bit of my life back, because I have been putting, like, I pour my entire self into the business for so long.
Mhm.
that I've kind of lost a little bit of myself along the way, and I'm getting myself back. It's just like in a different way right now.
Sure.
But yeah, like I want to open up a couple different other businesses. Um, like one of them has something to do with the beauty industry. The other one absolutely does not. But like I got big hopes and dreams, and so to do that, I want to kind of step away just a little bit,
Sure.
so that I just logistically have the time to do the rest.
Well, I mean, it's the only way you could open up another location. It's the only way you could expand is the word that I would use. Like the only way for you to currently take any of your businesses and make them bigger is you have, and this is for anybody listening, right? The whole idea is
Right.
that anybody listening is the only way to grow is finding the who. Who is it that you can trust with your business? Who is it that, and we call our businesses our babies, right? Like my real
Oh
estate
yeah.
business is my baby. It's my livelihood. It's my family's livelihood. This is your livelihood. This is your baby. And talk about that a few more minutes here. I just want you to talk about like how do you foresee ever handing off your baby, your business to someone else? Like, how do you think you could make that happen?
I don't know. I'm still struggling with that because again, I love to control what I can control, and if safely sunning is my baby, I can like kind of like mold it and make sure it like stays on the sidewalk and doesn't run out into the street, you know? But a part of the way that I'm attempting to do that, and I'm still trying to like get things in place and like just have a really good standard operating procedures and like all of that stuff. I want to be able to, and so I'm looking to still have two other locations, maybe one in Lawrence, maybe one in Manhattan. We'll see. Um, maybe one in Meriden. I have no idea. I'm there every day. So I
Sure.
don't know where I want these two locations, but I want to have three locations of Safely Sunning,
Okay.
have Topeka be like the main location, and then franchise after that. And so that's always been like since day one, that's always been the dream. I was uh, getting ready, like the week that the world shut down 2 years ago, was the same week that I was going to sign the lease for a Lawrence location.
Mm,
Thank God I didn't, because
mm.
like I would have really been in trouble. Um, but I mean, it's been in the works for a really long time. But I feel like being able to franchise it instead of just only having my locations is going to be really nice to be able to like check in with them, but it not be like 100% on me, right? Like a lot of those
Mhm.
people, with franchises, you have to have a dog in the fight. You have to put your own money out there
Yeah.
to make it go. You have to have a real passion for it. So I think that um, locking arms with the people that have a real passion for what I do, is my way of stepping away.
I think this is a huge. I still think that your business is so new to the world that I was at a bride. I was at the bridal fair this last year, and there was actually a spray tan person there, and it was amazing how many people are like, "What? What? I don't get it. I don't." You know, the education piece on your business is so new. I mean, I really feel like you're an early adopter of your business. So I do think that this is a huge possibility. I do think that you're getting into a college area and around those bigger schools, you're probably on the right track. And yet I love that you're not putting yourself in a tunnel vision in a sense where it's only that. Like you're saying yourself, like there's businesses that aren't even connected to this. There's businesses that are apparel based and all these other opportunities. And that's true entrepreneurship, right? We get our high from that. But I think the thing I love what you're saying the most, and what I really am enjoying about what you're saying, is that no matter what you're doing, you're going to continue to do more and more and more. And even if another pandemic knocks you down, like it's not going to keep you down. It's not going to keep anybody who has a desire and a passion for what they're doing down. It's impossible. It's impossible. If the passion's there, you'll
Right.
figure it out. And so Heather, thank you so much for being on my show today. I think we could talk forever. I'm excited to follow up with you. Let's say
Oh,
we
we could,
follow
for sure.
in a year and see where you're at, because I just feel
Yeah,
like right now
do that.
you're on the cusp of huge things, and and you have my full support. I think you're great. I think your business is great. I love that you're real. I don't ever feel like when I'm watching you, when I'm seeing you, that you're faking it. You're not, you don't always care what people think, which is fine. You say what you believe, you say what's in your heart, and don't ever lose that, because I think that's what we're losing in our world right now. So thank you. I mean, I don't really have anything else to say
Completely agree.
there. So until next time,
Well, thanks for
I
having
will.
me on. I really appreciate it. This was a good
Yeah,
treat.
yeah, absolutely. I've been wanting to get you on here for a while. I think you're a fantastic business owner. So I will talk to you next time.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
You've been listening to Topeka Business Uncensored, where we interview business owners in the Topeka, Kansas area about their business and a little bit about them as a person. I'm Cole Boling, and I am one of the co-owners with my wife Jamie of the Boling Group real estate team with Keller Williams One Legacy Partners in Topeka. If you are thinking about selling, buying, or investing in real estate, I'd love to connect with you through our website at thebolinggroup.com.